Jaquon Brisker out of Penn State, safety. He wore number 1 there. Actually a Pittsburgh guy too, man, from Pittsburgh, man. 6'1", 200-pound safety. Now, this is the guy for me that I'm starting to like a little bit more the more I cut the tape on with him, man. I just think that he's a high level athlete with just a natural nose for the ball. You cut that tape on, man.
Oh, yeah.
He gets to that rock. It might not be the best, but he's going to get to that rock. And I love the fact that he's not afraid to be physical. You watch any game you want from him, man. He doesn't turn down contact at all. I ain't saying that he's bombing guys, but he don't turn it down. And that's the thing that I like about him, mate. I don't mind you being a small guy. Shoot, Mike Hilton's small. Cam Sutton's small. But you know what? Them dudes don't turn it down. Arthur Millette, he don't turn it down. And that's my thing. When I look at Jaquon, I'm like, bro, he don't turn anything down. He's with all the shenanigans. And that's the type of players that I like. And he also gives you, once again, what we've been talking about, we've been highlighting, positional flexibility. He could play free safety. He could play strong safety, but he can also play nickel. And when I think of that, I just like it because, once again, we were talking about Terrell Edmonds. We're saying, hey, man, it's a lot going on. What does the contract look like? Long-term, short-term, whatever. Jaquon could potentially be a guy that you would bring in. And I kind of like him a little. I think he's a little bit of a better athlete than a Trey Norwood that we drafted a year ago, right? But if you're bringing him in-house, yeah. So it's like, I kind of like that because now I have multiple areas that he could potentially fill if somebody went down from an injury or if, anything were to happen. It's like you at least have a guy that, number 1, is productive. 63 tackles, 2 picks, 5 PBUs, forced fumble. You got a guy that has really good instincts. Like I said, you watch him when he plays around the line of scrimmage, he finds that ball. But then you also look at him in coverage. He has really good instincts, man, in terms of just being fluid, reading routes and things like that. Now, in terms of, because we've talked about a ton of the positive with him, the negative that I had, though, was this, man. I want to see with him also how fast he is, because at times he doesn't look like he has jump off the screen speed in terms of being a blazer. He looks like he's adequate speed, but he doesn't look like he's a burner. And that's the part where when you start talking at the NFL level, we know them guys on the other side, man, they can go. So that's the part where I want to just see, like, speed wise where he's at. I don't think that he's very strong either. We talked about he's physical, just not strong. So you'll see him. He's not afraid to go take on anybody. But at times, he might be the nail and not the hammer. It just happens like that because of, like I said, him not being overly strong.
Versus Derrick Henry.
Yeah. It's like he's still he going. It was a good play for the defense, right? It was I think it was a 3-yard gain or maybe a 3-yard loss, but it just looked bad for that play for Norman. But you still want a guy that's willing to shoot his gun versus the right.
2-yard run, I think.
Right. So it's like, he did his job. It just looked gory in terms of how it happened to him, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do. So I like that part. The other part that I would say is I just think that he needs to improve his tackling. I think he gets to the ball a lot. And I think that he is still, a guy that makes a good amount of tackles. I just think that he leaves a little bit more to be desired, though. Like, when I watch him, he
doesn't have the perfect wrap up.
Right. He falls off of some stuff. Like, he'll shoot his gun, which I do like. But like I said, I just think that just the fundamentals of it, head across the bow, wrapping up, driving your legs all the time. Stuff that we talk about with Edmonds that we say Edmonds excels at because Edmonds is a technician in that part of his game. That's the part for me where I would want to see Jaquon improve a little bit more. And like I said, man, with tackling, I do think that's something that you can teach. I do think it's something that you can improve upon, especially when you already have this high level athletic ability that Jaquon already has.
So we're looking at a guy like this. We also have another safety, and you brought up Trey Norwood.
Yep.
Only if Edmonds doesn't resign, right? I
Correct.
feel like, because he's going to go late first, early second. I feel like
correct.
That would really suck if we're spending a pick on a safety like that.
But like we said, it truly depends on what we do with Edmonds, because the reality is there isn't a guarantee that Edmonds is going to want to come back. Edmonds could legitimately say, hey, man, I can get more money on the open market. I do not want to come back and be, this role. I don't want to come back on the tag. I don't want to come back on this. I want to go and just sign a deal and get, just play anywhere. Like, I'm not saying that he would do that, but it's not 100% ruled out. So with that, if he were to leave, like we said, if we don't retain Edmonds, you are going to have to replace him with a guy that is capable of at least doing what he could do. And you don't get those guys late in the draft. Those guys have to come early in the draft.
Yeah, it looks like this guy could jump in and probably be a starter just like Edmonds. Maybe you're going to have some rookie growing pains, but he could just be a safety. And that's what he looks like, too. It's just safety. There's no, like, tweener hybrid role. Could he be
He's
a
safety
linebacker here?
He's a safety.
Yeah,
he's a safety.
That's what he looks like.
He's a safety that can go play nickel corner, at the collegiate level. And if he's fast enough, he could do it at the NFL level as well. But I like him. I like him a lot, man. Yeah, I like him a lot, man. Yeah,
I think he's good too. Yeah. It's just the question if we're going to be looking at him at all. Right. But yeah, he looks like a really good player.